Hello everybody, it's here the Japanese Train here, back at it again with another review of new Thomas items that I went to my local Walmart and found. I'm really excited to show you these, so let's go ahead and take a look. And let me just start and say that finding these new TrackMaster items was really quite a saga. I started at this first Walmart, which is about 5 minutes from where I live. You'll notice, by the way, that they have started raising the prices for some of the engines. The only thing I saw there that I might have wanted was this talking Emily.
Hello, friends.
A few days later, I went to another Walmart that was about 30 minutes away from me, and again, not anything new. They even had some old Rainbow Thomases there. Again, you can see this store also had the higher prices for the push-alongs, and everything else was pretty much all Engines Go related, so nothing new here. Then I went back to the first Walmart a few days after that. The Emily was still there. I still haven't gotten her. I might go back and get her, I don't know. But again, nothing really new. They had more of these All Engines Go items, but no new 2025 Classic Thomas. They even had an avalanche worth of my first Thomas. I even went to a Target, and I only took pictures here because this is just a pitiful display. They only had a talking Percy for engines, and really there were more of these generic wooden trains than there were actual Thomas items. And these things were ginormous. They are way too big for wooden railway scale. I don't even know who's going to want these. However, I did see clearance signs for the motorized assortment, so maybe something new's on the horizon. Then I went to another Walmart, even further away, and I'm happy to say that they had this Percy here. Just kidding. They had the actual new Trackmasters. Alright, I have the bag and I have the trains, so let's go ahead and see what's inside. I have two engines to show you today from the Greatest Moments collection packs. And as you can see, it is Thomas and Flying Scotsman. These two are the ones I was most excited to get when I saw that they released the new 3-pack Greatest Moments of the classic 80th anniversary engines. So let's go box by box and see what we have, and I'll give some of my thoughts. I'm going to start number one with the number one engine, Classic Thomas, and automatically I was blown away when I saw this in the Walmart. You can see the barcode system is back with that 2D animated cartoon Thomas version of the CGI Thomas. I think that's really cool and neat. My wife even pointed out that that's new. We have Motorized on the back there, and obviously it comes with Thomas with the special white running board. Since I was in the store, I actually had the luxury of looking at all the Thomases there and choosing which one I wanted, which was good because one of them had a pretty nasty blemish on the side of his face, so I was glad I was able to get around that issue. And then we have two troublesome trucks looking two different directions with cargo pieces. On the top we have the CGI Thomas and the 80th anniversary logo, Thomas's picture on the side, Thomas and Friends logo. On the back, pretty much nothing too crazy to write home about. Classic Thomas in a whole bunch of different languages and all the other sort of legalese on the back. On the very bottom, it's very similar to a lot of the other pre-existing box art, except now we are back to CGI Thomas climbing the barcode instead of the AEG one. So that's Thomas, and then here we have Flying Scotsman. I chose him because, one, I think he's one of the more accurate ones in this new, what are we calling this, TrackMaster 4 Classic TrackMaster Motorized range. But also Flying Scotsman's just one of my favorite characters in the series. So his model was a very quick and easy choice for me to make. Very similar to the Thomas box, you know. This here we have Flying Scotsman Classic in French, which I think is interesting, just as we had Thomas Classique on that one. We have obviously the two tenders, and again I was able to pick the Flying Scotsman I wanted. There were two left when I went, so this one just had crisper, I'll call them screen printing, than the other one I saw. The other one had some, you know, smearing and blemishes, so I picked this one up, and you know, it's very similar to the Thomas box, except for we have Flying Scotsman's CGI picture on the top and on the side, which I think is a fantastic touch because that's really going to draw the eye of the customer to this product. I would have liked to see maybe a head-on of these engines of Thomas or Flying Scotsman on the back, just like we do for, you know, the recent All Engines Go releases and even the 2-pack versions of the new classic TrackMaster. So missed opportunity, but I'm also just way too thrilled about what's inside to really have an issue with that. So let's go ahead and open these up, and then I'll see how they look out of the box. Alright, and here's what Thomas looks like out of the package. Really thrilled to see that they finally redesigned and brought back the classic Thomas designs for the motorized range, and I'm blown away, honestly. Just the fact that, I mean, take a look at this white running board. We have, you know, all these other added details, the physical whistles, although I wish they were yellow. Just the shape of him is so well captured. I'll, you know, kind of be in agreement with a lot of people in the fandom here, but I'm going to go ahead and say I think proportionally this is the best motorized Thomas we've had. TrackMaster, Playrail, Tomy, whatever name you want to give to it. I think this is hands down the best that Thomas has looked in terms of overall design. It's super accurate to the TV series Thomas. I do think the wheels are slightly small, and there's, you know, definitely some, it's kind of off a little bit with the splasher kind of being slightly off the right position, but that's also a concession that, you know, we can thank the very first TrackMaster 2 engines for doing, which is everyone gets the same chassis, you know, but we're still living with that. But definitely an improvement over everything that we've seen. I think my splasher is a little bit off center there with the printing, but oh well, you know, it was either that or get one with a smudged face. It's beggars can't be choosers. My buffers are slightly worn there on that side. Looks like the printing could have had another do-over, but that's an easy fix. No buffer black on the back here, no paint on the lamp, and no red lining back here, but I also probably wouldn't have expected that. We have a pretty high amount of coal in here, but again, nothing out of the ordinary at this point. My sticker looks like it has a little bit of bubbling. I think it needs to be put down. There we go. You just need to be pushed down a little bit, but that's Thomas right out of the box. Let's take a look at the troublesome trucks, and these guys look really cool. I'm glad that we just have rolling stock back, and they have two different expressions. These things, you know, say what you will about these sort of shorter rolling stock, but I think this actually works pretty well with the troublesome truck designs. I love that they both came with cargo in them. They both have crates, which actually have a little peg at the bottom here so that they can fit on the All Engines Go style of flatbed, which is kind of neat, kind of cross compatibility between the two. I love the printing on the sides with the rust details and the extra light gray that they gave, which is a step up from other troublesome trucks that have come out in the recent years with TrackMaster and Motorized, so that's great to see. The chassis are new. They say 2024 copyright Elaine Thomas Limited. They have new, I think these are suspensions and stuff like that, and the wheels are nice and round again as opposed to those geared wheels, which were kind of a mess and an eyesore to see. So I'm glad to have new troublesome trucks and a 2-pack of them. The fact that you get 2 pieces of rolling stock in this 3-pack, and they actually look like something you'd see on Sodor and not just something really goofy like just some way out there. It's really cool to see. So that's Thomas. Let's take a look at Flying Scotsman. He's really impressive to look at as well. We've got the 2 tenders, the water tender and the cold tender, and we have, of course, the engine. If you guys have seen my Donald review, you'll know that I've said that I have an issue with the fact that the back couplings of the engines are so far out from the tenders, and for some reason tenders are given buffers on the front where they shouldn't, but again, it's just kind of what we have at this point. It's not a the end of the world. What I think is cool about these tender engines is the fact that they gave us all of the valve gear and extra bits and bobs that haven't been on previous versions of the engines. Like even if I zoom in, you can see tucked in there the leading bogies for the wheels. And the cylinders here, the cylinders probably could have been improved with a little white like we see everywhere else on Scotsman, but again, I'll accept that. I think that once again the coupling rods are back, which is awesome. We have a rear wheel here, the 4472. I think the firebox is pretty wimpy, kind of old style, old shape Henry vibes there, but again, I think Gordon has the same problem, so not super bad. The face of Scotsman kind of looks like it's been punched in a little bit, just sort of how the scaling worked out, but the face is definitely very neat, although we have that, again, same problem where he's got that, not so much as a wink, but more of like a, it's always like he's twitching before he's about to go insane. That's kind of the vibe I get off of this Scotsman face. We have the nice tall chimney, the funnel, the long chimney, and the long dome, the banjo dome. So altogether, the engine looks very great. I love the black that they gave on his running board here, which ties them together very nicely. Once again, the tenders are very nice looking with the new chassis situation. I think that the tenders could have maybe been a little bit bigger. I think even the trucks don't look bad being that small, but I think the tenders could have definitely been improved with a size upgrade, but that's also because these engines are supposed to be the same size as the All Engines Go Motorized, so it's kind of supposed to Frankenstein in with a bunch of other merchandise. So for what we got, though, I think it's a phenomenal Scotsman, and definitely better than the one that we got about 10 years ago. This Scotsman actually kind of feels full circle to me because I got a Flying Scotsman TrackMaster back when it came out a decade ago, and I filmed a whole review for that and everything. I actually never published it. But I'm obviously published this one now, and the fact that I'm here almost 10 years later with a new and improved TrackMaster Flying Scotsman, it's really cool to see. Especially, I think back to the days of the Tomica Tomy TrackMaster customs that people would make, and people make custom Flying Scotsman this and that, and I always wanted one really bad. I even almost made one at one point. Just seeing a Scotsman like this as realistically painted and proportioned as he is, and very accurate to the show, it's really cool to see. Hands down, probably one of my favorites of this range. And here's how Thomas and Flying Scotsman look on my TrackMaster 2 layout. My cat was actually sitting on the towel before I put the tracks down, so I had to build the layout around her, but she didn't really mind. You can see here that the new Thomas is slightly smaller than the All Engines Go, but definitely bigger than the previous TrackMaster Revolution. The only ding I have on this Thomas is I don't know what this water splash pattern is on the side, but it's not really a big deal. It's a kind of a unique Thomas, and you can see from this picture just how bad we had it in the TrackMaster 2 era. This is a real step up. And here are the new troublesome trucks with the old motorized one in the middle. Definitely the new ones are an improvement, although I like that the old one had the jiggling feature. Flying Scotsman looks awesome as well, although he would look even better with a train of coaches rolling along behind him. On the whole, though, the new Thomas and Flying Scotsman are very accurate, detailed, well-proportioned motorized trains, and I was thrilled to be able to find these and pick them up at Walmart. The reason I didn't get Gordon and James is because I kind of didn't want to get all four at once to save a little bit of money, but Maybe I'll get them down the road. However, I really recommend these for your TrackMaster 2 layout. They're obviously going to be bigger than the trains that came out 10 years ago, and they're not going to fit in those tunnels, but this is a real new major step up. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Have you been able to find these where you live? And what engines are you interested in finding in this range? Thank you very much for watching. I'm here at the Japanese Train, signing off. I'll see you in the next one, guys.
Hoop, hoop. Joe! Joe! Oh!